Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 114 of Teaching Tales, the podcast totally devoted to sharing stories from the world of education, stories that I hope will encourage, inspire, and remind you, if you're an educator, that you are making a difference in the lives of those that you serve. And in today's episode, I'm flying solo again, as I every once in a while do. Typically, I'll have a guest on and we will chat about a particular topic, but today, just me. And the topic of this episode, if you saw the title, it's The Value in Looking Back. And if you're like me, at some point in your life, you have probably heard someone gave you advice along the lines of, you should never look back. Don't look behind you. You've always got to be looking forward. And I just want to take a couple of minutes and make the case that I think we should look back, if only to see how far we've come. If we never look back, we'll never be able to appreciate how far we've come. Now, the inspiration for this podcast, I want to share a story with you. Now, about 4 years ago, I was sobbing uncontrollably in the shower. And the reason may surprise you. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, did somebody pass away? Was there a tragedy that happened to your family? No, it might surprise you. The cause of my tears, my sobbing in the shower, was later that day, my wife and I were going to be dropping our daughter off at college. And if you're a parent of older kids and you've experienced dropping a kid off in college, that's an emotional experience. And I was having a hard time. Bittersweet. I mean, I was so excited for her, but my baby girl was moving out and I was having a hard time with that. And as I record this episode right now, in 3 days, my daughter is graduating from college. In 3 days, we're going to be making the same drive that we made 4 years ago down to San Diego. And we're going to watch our daughter, Megan, walk across that stage as a college graduate. And it's made me think back. It's made me look back over the last 4 years to see, wow, how far have we come? Specifically, how far has my daughter come in the last 4 years? I think back to that first day when we dropped her off. We had the car full and we drove down and got into her dorm room and got her pretty much moved into the dorm room. And it was a Friday and we got her settled in, and then we had to drive back up north. She was going to hang out with some new friends that she had made. But I remember that night, my daughter, Megan, she was again, as a freshman, it's so normal. She was nervous. She's stepping out. It's the first time she's going to be out on her own. And I remember her saying, like, what if I don't meet people? What if I'm just sitting bored out of my mind in my dorm room? What if I can't do this? And we tried to assure her, like, baby, you got this. You're going to be fine. So we left her that night. We came back down the next day to hit Target for those last minute dorm room items and take her to lunch. And the coolest thing happened. After going to Target and lunch, Megan was looking at her phone about every 2 or 3 minutes to check the time. Basically, like, are we almost done? Like, because FOMO had already set in. The fear of missing out on the college campus. In less than 24 hours, she had already met like a dozen new friends. And she was like, check please, Dad, are we almost done? Like, because I got to get back on campus because I got some new friends that I need to hang out with. And I've been invited to this get together and it was so cool. My wife and I are just kind of making eye contact with each other, smiling like, this is what we want. So the whole point of me sharing this story is I have been looking back over the last 4 years. When we dropped her off, she was nervous, as pretty much every freshman would be. And I look back to how much she's grown over the last 4 years. As a sophomore, she was mentoring freshmen. As a junior, she was an RA in the dorms. Between her junior and senior year, she had the opportunity to study abroad in Italy. She spent time in Florence, Italy. I mean, going from nervous in her dorm room, oh my gosh, to literally by herself going to study for 5 weeks on the other side of the world. And ladies and gentlemen, over the last 4 years, my daughter wrote a novel. She's a writing major. She's graduating with a degree in writing. Over the last several years, she has written a novel. She is in the rewriting stage, and ladies and gentlemen, I am her father. But I'm going to tell you, look out in a couple of years. Megan Coley, the novel that she has written, is amazing. You're going to see it in bookstores. And when it goes out, you know that her proud dad will be singing her praises from the rooftops. But all that to say, I have been looking back over the last 4 years and been able to see how much my daughter has grown. The independence that she has, living on her own for the last 4 years. And I wanted to share this with everybody else out there as a reminder. Were there difficult times for my daughter over the last 4 years? Oh yeah. She endured COVID, meaning like school shut down midway through her freshman year in 2020. She got COVID when she was studying abroad in Italy. Have there been challenges? Absolutely. But when we look back over all that where she started and where she's finishing, it's amazing. But if we never looked back, we would never be able to appreciate the amount of growth. And I think every educator, whether you're a classroom teacher, whether you're an aide, whether you're an administrator, it is so important. It's not just okay to look back. It's necessary to look back. The key is you don't live in the past. We have to look back to see how far we've come, but don't position your seat facing backwards. You got to have it swivel. You look back for a period of time, but then you got to face back forward, and you got to be moving on. So we don't want to dwell on the past, but it's important to look at the past so that we can see how far we've come. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has made sense. I hope this has been encouraging for anybody. That if right now, what I would just encourage you is like take a moment and look back. Where were you 4 years ago? Maybe that doesn't even have to be college. Look back to where you were 4 years ago. That's right before COVID. And look where you are now. And I would ask you to take a little inventory and see how much have you grown? Because I would bet money you've grown. You've grown in immense ways. And whatever struggles you were encountering, and you still may be in the midst of struggles, but I'm pretty confident to say that the vast majority of us, we have come a long way, and we want to celebrate that. We're going to be celebrating our daughter and the accomplishments that Megan has made over the last 4 years, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. There is value in looking back. Once again, you just don't live in the past. Look back, see how far you've come, and then keep moving forward. So, once again, I hope that this made sense for you. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you. If this is your first time and this didn't make sense, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If it's not your first time and it didn't make sense, I'm sorry. But I hope it made sense, whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener. Thank you so much. If you like what you heard, or if you want to go back and listen to something else, be sure to subscribe. We're available. Podcast is available and everywhere podcasts are found: Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can listen directly on my website at brentcoley.com. If you like what you heard, drop a review. I'd appreciate that. Helps get the podcast out to more people, so hopefully they can be encouraged and inspired as well. Once again, thank you so much for listening, everyone. And until next time, have a great one.